Welcome to the PFD Performance YouTube channel. Pretty friggin' deadly. It's the morning after picking up the Opel. ADHD kind of struck, focused on trying to get this thing drivable so I can cruise it around. I mean, realistically, I should be working on this to get it ready for Death Week. We want to fix the exhaust rattle, and we're gonna go flex fuel. So I got a DMX tuning kit to put on, and then buddy Jason's gonna help us tune it up. But this is staring me in the face. So Jim, guy we bought it off of, it's got it idling right, but he couldn't get it idling right with the idle air control. So he's just got that plugged off right now. So this little guy just does the bleep bloops and gets it idling good. So I've done some reading. I found out the way in the Megasquirt tuning software to kind of test how this is working and make sure it's closing all the way, make sure the settings are opening it the right amount. So I think I'm just gonna hook up the laptop and see, plugging this in, if we can get it to do its thing. And then I'll do a little bit more reading, and then we'll try and turn it on with it hooked up. But I don't know, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm figuring it out, I think. So hey, only one way to find out. And probably reach out to tuner buddy Jason there, see what he thinks. There's open loop and closed loop. One's purely just based on temperature. The other one targets a specific idle speed. Obviously the specific idle speed, there's a little bit more involved, but I think, you know, we should be able to get her dialed in. Anyway, I'll probably get this hooked up, take a look at it, and then I can walk you through how I set it up for testing. Cool thing about this, you saw yesterday, power windows. Not the most lightweight or practical, but it's luxury. I mean, it's got to try and compete with both of those. All right, so we got the test thing open. Right now, this is how many steps to home. This is just for setting the position you want to check, and then it's a full in-out cycle. So I'll put you over here, and you can watch as we go home. You'll see it's all nice and closed in there. It would definitely block off airflow, and I'll just bump up this other one to check. And you could see if we were idling when it's a little colder and we're trying to get a high idle, it'll come out here, bleed the air, and off we go. So I think essentially everything in here is configured and it should work in theory. Now it's going to be a matter of you know, hooking the valve up and trying to fire it up and see what happens. And I still got some tickling through the tune here to understand what's going on, just so I can keep an eye, make sure everything's going well. But I think it should work, but I don't know if I'll have time to get to it today, but I just wanted to fill you in. That's the quick output test mode idle valve in the tuner studio for our MS3 Pro. So when I get a chance to hook it all up and give it a fire up, I'll make sure you guys are along for the ride. I think we're gonna maybe try and get the Opel to a car show tonight. So this will be the first time firing it up cold for me. I know guy I bought it off of, Jim, mentioned cold starts were a little tricky. Still need to kind of use a little bit of throttle input, and right now the IAC isn't in like we talked about, so I think just so I can get my head around some things, I'm gonna hook up the laptop. I'm gonna start it, gonna let it warm up. I'm gonna kind of see what the manifold pressure is at, see how it kind of reacts with temperature. And then from there, hopefully I can get to a point where I can plug the IAC in. Once it's warm, IAC shouldn't do anything. I can get the idle warm where I want it. And then I think we should be good to let the ECU auto tune. Got to do a little bit more reading, so I don't know, maybe I'll just get some seat time in the car and see if I can figure it out. Do a little bit of learning. Got some Wi-Fi out here, so I'll just see what I can do from out here in the garage. But for now, I'll set you up, try and get her fired up and put you along for the ride.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
What are you doing?
I have no idea.
Kinda understanding, tickling into this. Got the registered version of the Tuner Studio. Ran the auto tune, it kind of tweaked some things. It seemed to dial in the AFR to the targeted one pretty quick. Let's just take a look here. Fuel settings, AFR table. So this is kind of what it's targeting. I think looks pretty conservative to me. Thinking I could probably dial these up a hair and in the idle area, and then it should be reasonable from there. Kind of at our atmosphere, be targeting 12.3, 12.0, and then richening up as we go into boost. So I don't know, I think we're getting there. It definitely seemed to smooth out after turning on the auto tune, so it might be at a point where I should take her for a little putt, so and leave the laptop hooked up and see what it starts to do. Yeah, I think that's about where I'm at. I also need to maybe try and put this IAC on. Let's do that before we go for a ride and see what it does. Anyway, here we go. All right, I think I figured it out. So put the IAC on, fired it up. RPMs came way up and I could hear air leaking past the valve. So I know I read before some of these, they need power on all the time. It's nice to not need it because then the motor doesn't heat up. But some of them, just the way they work, they need the power on all the time. I switched that setting, all of a sudden fire it up. The valve opened right at crank, came right back down within like a second and sealed. So I think that's all it was I needed to change the position to always on. So now I think it should fire up a little better, and I'm gonna take off the little exhaust tubes that help get most of the exhaust outside the garage so a guy doesn't pass out. Wow, that went high. And yeah, I'll pop this in the passenger seat and maybe go for a little putt around the road now that we're fully legal. Because you know what? That means it's a street car. And I think if I can get this Tuner Studio to do a couple little things, we might be able to go to A&W. show this thing off. But I think first, might need to get some like PFD flame stickers in the quarter glass or on the back glass. So who knows? All right, well, I'm probably gonna swap out a battery, see if I can't get a full one in this thing, and take you all for a rip.
This is so embarrassing.
pretty good. It does. It's not easy. 72.
Well, that's going to do it for this one. I'm really glad we were able to get the car out on the road and go for a drive. It was also awesome getting to share it with some people at one of our local car meetups. There's still a fair amount to sort out in the tune before we can really start driving it or making any pulls. But this was a start. Thanks again for watching. We hope you're enjoying it so far, and we can't wait to share how things go. Also, we just wanted to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. If you stuck around this far and you have some downtime over the holidays, please check out our playlist from Miles of Mayhem as well as Death Week. As always, stay deadly.